Kirk, how would you self-evaluate yourself through the first three games?
Um, Quite well, actually. It's been a good season in the sense that I really feel the maturity amongst the group, and having Cal and Kess as seniors now, the way we've been able to prepare ourselves and mentally, like I think even with the coronavirus and how everything happened during the off season, being a little bit older, it made things a lot easier. I think being a freshman or sophomore during this time would be pretty difficult, and having those years of maturity and how to, prepare mentally and physically, just during even when we're in the quarantine and football was off, being able to still get some work in with Cal and not have that as just a wasted time was really beneficial. I think that really helped set us up. And I think even Pitt football as a whole set us up, more adequately for the season.
Kirk, did you go home during quarantine back to Australia?
No, I stayed in Pittsburgh. I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be allowed back in the US. So I figured I'd just play the safe game and stay in Oakland.
Where did you work out during those times?
Just up at Shenley Oval, up on the top of the hill in Shenley Park, yeah, which is good. Had some locals fielding some punts for me, which was good.
Kirk, as part of the group, with Alex and Cal, what's the pride you guys felt on and the emotion you guys felt for Alex to be able to have a game like that this past Saturday?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I think Kess and I were talking about it in the film, but the celebration we had after the first punt, I think, after the first field goal was better than the other two. Like, just that relief, I think, to get it out of the way. And we both had the confidence going in. We knew what he was doing wrong, and we'd addressed it during the week. And again, that's another thing that, being a veteran and being a little bit more of a mature guy gives you that ability to sort of assess week to week, like where your deficiencies are at and what's going on, and not to panic and that kind of thing. And we were able to sort of address where Kess and where I and Cal could, fix our games in the field goal and then just move forward. And that first one going in was like, all right, we're sweet, we're rolling. The rest of the game, we don't even have to worry. We're just going to go do our thing.
Do you approach that kind of like a three-man team as opposed to it's just Alex or just you or just Cal?
Oh, of course. And that's the thing, like everything affects, Kess's kick. And it's very easy for him to be the scapegoat when it's criticism like, oh, he missed. But again, the week before, I take full credit. I dropped the snap, and that's on my fault, and then Cal would say, well, Kirk dropped the snap because my snap maybe wasn't great. But I said to Cal that his snap was perfect. It's just, we take pride in that, knowing that Cal's job affects my job and my job affects Kess's job. So, after the first two games, I felt just as responsible for those field goals as Kess did.
And that's getting you guys. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just think that that's the best way for us to approach it as a unit, rather than trying to put all that individual pressure on one. It's not really the case. It shouldn't only be Kess's responsibility to fix it. It should be for all three of us. And that's what we did during the week, getting both Cal and Kess and myself down to Heinz Field and get a little bit of extra practice in, as a unit, as ourselves, it really does set you up for a more successful game day.
Did you say you practiced at Heinz Field before the game last week?
Just during the week, yeah. We went down there just with only for 30 minutes, just getting some reps in, addressing the stadium. And that's something that Coach Narduzzi said for us to go do, and it was beneficial, I think, and it worked.
Kirk, is Alex getting you and Cal into meditation too?
In a way, we all have our own different little approaches to the game, but I think, again, it's something that's come with the maturity of being a little bit of an older guy. But having a more sort of calm approach to everything and getting caught up, for myself even, it's very easy to get caught up week to week with, the stress and the anxiety and the pressure of performing on a game day. And as you get older, and I remember learning this from Winslow when I was a redshirt freshman, that, just being able to approach every punt like it's just the next one and not thinking about the rest, sort of removing, because all of us know how to, kick well, punt well, snap well. It's just being able to translate that ability to game day. So being able to be calm about it, you're already halfway there. You're not overthinking it. You're not stressing. And it's just like golf, same sort of deal.
What do you do to relax?
Well, more physically, to be honest, it's like I'm out there with a more balanced stance. I'm trying to sink in my, I'm, again, like a golf swing. I want to be, feel grounded and feel firm and, just be patient and wait for the ball, not ready to like sort of jump at it. And that's in the same with like my holding for field goals, for example. Like the first job everyone worries about, oh, was the placement good? Was the spin good? Was the catch good? You know, starting from the base sort of and working your way through it. If I can catch the ball clean to start with, then the rest of it's going to fall into place much easier than if I'm worrying about too many things. So that's one of the things that Cal helped me focus on that during quarantine. And that was something I really recognized that I can work on, is just being more smooth with my whole operation. And I think that's what we saw with Cass on the weekend as well. His whole operation was much more like relaxed and calm than his original, first 2 games.
Kirk, you've made a couple of golf references. You and Kess and Cal, you guys golf a lot or what?
Cass is quite good. I've been with Cal a couple of times. I'm not going to publicly say that I'm any good whatsoever. I'd love to get better. If anyone has any pointers for me, I'll take them. But yeah, it's a good analogy, I think, for people who don't really understand what it's like to be a specialist or like a kicker or a punter, because it's very similar in the action. You just change that swing a little bit and you could be slicing it, or it could have a draw, and it's the same deal for us going into the games.
Is Kess a
Any final
scratch
questions for
golfer? Or
Kirk?
what?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I was just saying, is Kess a scratch golfer? How good is he?
Oh, he's good. I've actually stopped being allowed to go with him because I think I just ruined his afternoon, which is funny. So whatever level you consider that he's not even willing to bring his holder on, I don't know.
Kirk, just a quick question. How did you deal with quarantine with your family half a world away? How difficult was that whole time for months where you couldn't do much?
It was tough. And what was interesting actually was after getting over the fact that I miss, because usually I get to go home prior to the summer session beginning. So I get like a week or 2 there. So after getting over that, what was nice was, because my parents were in quarantine in Australia as well, I had plenty of time to FaceTime them. So now during the season and stuff, we only get, once a week that they're not working when I'm awake and they're not asleep and so on. Whereas during the quarantine, like I was home, I just send my mum a text like, hey, are you awake? Do you want to FaceTime? FaceTime. So it was just like the accessibility to have that communication. Like we've been very lucky and blessed that I've had Zoom and that kind of thing. We can have a clear conversation with someone and even be able to look in their face and chat for a couple of hours and sort of be up to date. And Australia has quite strict quarantine and lockdown laws, so I'm kind of glad I got to stay in the US.